I was reading today about more of the Bhagavad Gita, and it was talking about in the beginning the Krishna character, God, so to speak, was talking to a guy who's about to go into a battle and doesn't really want to fight, and saying that he should do his duty and fight, and that what happens to material existence, to the body, is not something to be sad about, because it has nothing to do with the true spirit, the soul of the person that is immutable and goes on forever, has always been here and always will be. And therefore, all worries about death and life and aging and all of it is actually just really irrelevant. And it was interesting to read because it's, this is a very old book. It predates almost every other religion we have. And you can see where Buddhism came out of it. But I was reading maybe 10 pages of it in this book that I have, which has the statements of the Bhagavad Gita, the conversation between these, the characters. And then it has explanation in between each statement. So the author of the translation's telling you what is going on here. And it was just interesting to think about this idea of the immutable, actual, real self that never goes anywhere, and maintaining its individuality. So there was a bit of a difference between that and the Buddhist idea of everything is just one. It's one reality, one self permeating the entire universe. And I think the Bhagavad Gita is talking more about sort of the shards of the God ultimate reality. Some of them fall off, some of them break off, and they come down and they become individual souls, and they're permanent but separate, although connected to the supreme, and it's very well put, and so it makes you realize that this thought idea, the age of this idea that whatever happens in the physical realm, in our daily or our lifetime of suffering and pain and fear of this or that, all of that being not real, and it's an illusion that we have to learn how to understand exists. First of all, the illusion exists, but then we have to also learn how to see beyond it. So it's just an interesting. It's interesting to read these things once in a while. I go back to things like this occasionally after not being interested for years. But anyway, I thought I would do a quick, start off with the I Ching. And, let's do a little I Ching roll. Where's my... All right. Let's see how this is supposed to orient. And we'll get our I Ching Oracle coins. And I like to show them. There's the coins. One side is worth 2 points, and the other side is always worth 3 points. And then we write down what we get. Okay, so I'm gonna start rolling these things. And we get 3 and 3 is 6, 7, 8, which is, and of course I'm flipped around. So give me a second. We're going to do that. And yeah, this is all good. And then we roll again. And we get an 8 again. And we roll again. And we get an 8 again. And this time we get a 7. And this time we get a 9. And this time we get a 7. Okay. This gives us 2 trigrams. The one, 3 yangs on the top with a moving yang in the middle. 3 yangs on top gives us heaven. On the bottom, we have 3 yins, which gives us earth, it looks like, which means hexagram 11. So I'm going to write hexagram 11, but then because this is moving and changing into a yin, it gives us the fire on top of the, wait a minute, what am I doing? Heaven on top. That's 12, sorry. I'm wrong. I'm reading my chart wrong. It looks terrible. Hold on. 12. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes I read my own chart incorrect. That's heaven on top of the earth. And that's 12, yes. But if this moves, then it becomes the fire symbol on top of the earth, and that's 35. So let me write that down here. Okay. So we have 12 moving into 35. Let's see what we get from 12. Okay. Yes, heaven on top of earth. Let me take these off. Hey, Earl, how are you? I'm going to open a queue. I'm doing an I Ching to start things off, but I'm opening the queue anyway because we're going to do tarot readings. But first of all, we have Stand Still is the name of our I Ching reading. Creative heaven above receptive earth. The hexagram is the opposite of the preceding one. Heaven is above, drawing farther and farther away, while the earth below sinks farther into the depths. The creative powers are not in relation. It is a time of standstill and decline. This hexagram is linked with the 7th month, August, September, when the year has passed its zenith and autumnal decay is setting in. The judgment is stand still. Evil people do not further the perseverance of the superior man. The great departs, the small approaches. Heaven and earth are out of communion, and all things are benumbed. What is above has no relation to what is below. And on earth confusion and disorder prevail. The dark power is within, the light power is without. Weakness is within, harshness without. Within are the inferior, and without are the superior. The way of inferior people is in ascent. The way of superior people is on the decline. But the superior people do not allow themselves to be turned from their principles. If the possibility of exerting influence is closed to them, they nevertheless remain faithful to their principles and withdraw into seclusion. Heaven and earth do not unite, the image of standstill. Thus the superior man falls back upon his inner worth in order to escape the difficulties. He does not permit himself to be honored with revenue. So there's a general sense in this one of decline, coming into the dark times, and the superior people of superior intention, tend to withdraw a bit and go off and make sure that they're kind of out of the line of sight. They kind of hide, and they let the things, the turmoil around, kind of play itself out. They wait it out is basically what's going on here in this one. And we have that moving line up in the 5th position, which means standstill is giving way. So things are switching because of this here. So standstill is giving way. Good fortune for the great man. What if it should fail? What if it should fail? In this way, he ties it to a cluster of mulberry shoots. Now, this is what the I Ching is saying. So the explanation is the time undergoes a change. The right man, able to restore order, has arrived. Hence, good fortune. But such periods of transition are the very times in which we must fear and tremble. Success is assured only through greatest caution, which asks always, what if it should fail? When a mulberry bush is cut down, a number of unusually strong shoots sprout from the roots. Hence the image of tying something to a cluster of mulberry shoots is used to symbolize the way of making success certain. Okay, now that's the 12th hexagram. What happens is, because of this moving line that we just talked about, bringing an indication of good fortune coming back to us, this moving line leads us to the 35th hexagram, which tells us what does it say? What does the book, the ancient book, tell us? The 35th is progress. So here we are moving away from the problem we've been having in 12. And something about that number 12. I kind of like the number 12, but in fact, it's not such a great one. The standstill of the 12th hexagram is giving way, because of that moving line there with the circle on it. It's giving way to the 35th, which is called progress, which is the fire above the earth. And it represents the sun rising over the earth. It is therefore the symbol of rapid, easy progress, which at the same time means ever-widening expansion and clarity. Progress. The powerful prince is honored with horses and large numbers. In a single day, he is granted audience 3 times. As an example of progress, this pictures a time when a powerful feudal lord rallies the other lords around the sovereign and pledges fealty and peace. The sovereign rewards him richly and invites him to a closer intimacy. A twofold idea is set forth here. The actual effect of the progress emanates from a man who is in a dependent position and whom the others regard as their equal and are therefore willing to follow. This leader has enough clarity of vision not to abuse his great influence, but to use it rather for the benefit of his ruler. His ruler, in turn, is free of all jealousy, showers presents on the great man, and invites him continually to his court, an enlightened ruler and an obedient servant. This is the condition on which great progress depends. The sun rises over the earth, the image of progress. Thus, the superior man himself brightens his bright virtue. So this is a good development from where we're coming out of our stagnation and our time of trouble, because we see the way forward. We see the way to sort of bide our time for a while and then see the moment when improvement starts to happen. And then we are able to move toward progress and develop into actually what turns out to be a very fortuitous circumstance with really good leadership instincts going on. That's basically what I boil this down to. So it's a nice indicator, and maybe something that, the I Ching reading like that can be interpreted and sort of thought about going into a weekend. The end of our work week and moving into a little weekend. Hi, Dartham Goat. How are you? So good. That's our little I Ching has provided us with a little service there. And now we, of course, move our sights over to our friend the tarot. Which, frankly, I'm more familiar with the tarot. I like to do the I Ching because it's unfamiliar to me, really. I've read it many years ago, but it's still something that I don't typically practice. So I like to put something kind of, I like to explore a new thing. Not that you can't explore new things in tarot almost every day, but the I Ching is just so different. It has many connections, but visually, of course, it's just so different that it's interesting. The night is good. I decided to do a late stream. Someone recommended yesterday on my stream, they saw me eating yogurt because I got hungry and I wanted some yogurt. So I ate this Greek yogurt, and they were saying, oh, you should do that with granola in it. And I did, and it's so good. I just had two of them. I took two of the Greek yogurts and I poured some of the granola on top and mixed it in a little bit. Man, it's good. Ooh, so good. So I was watching TV and eating these yogurts, and then I was like, yeah, last night I mentioned that I would probably do another stream tonight. And so I just got on. You got to keep your when you're doing tarot, you have to keep the water flowing through. You have to keep working at it to keep the wheels going, right? So that the meaning of the reading comes through you easily. It doesn't always. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it takes a minute to see what's going on. And some readings are very, very strange and contradictory. They can, when you see what on the surface looks contradictory in a tarot reading, sometimes it can throw you like, wait, how does that, but you have, the thing about reading tarot is you kind of have to have this ability to just sort of relax into it and let the tarot kind of tell you what that contradiction is about. So you just take it for what it is. You don't try to resist you don't dwell on the conflict that you perceive momentarily. And usually you see it as a conflict because of your own limitation. You're not allowing it to speak and come through you freely. You've thrown up your own little idea that you're stuck on, and you You insist upon something in your head that makes the cards seem like they're in conflict. And sometimes if they are in conflict, then they are talking about conflict. They're trying to express something about conflict. So yeah, that kind of thing is very interesting to me. That's why I like to stream tarot, because it all of these possibilities and different ways of seeing what meanings are there and what conflicts mean and all this is fascinating. You can never totally get to the bottom of it. Oh, I didn't mean to type join. What am I doing? I meant to type joining my own queue. See, that's what happens when I stream late. I'm on my stream and I'm trying to join my own queue to get a reading. I mean, how absurd is that? So I'm always happy to give myself a reading. I do it all the time. In fact, it's a really good thing to do, to give yourself a reading, because when you give yourself a reading, hi Jen, how are you? If you're trying to join, do an exclamation point and then do exclamation point join. But yeah, if you do readings for yourself, then you can kind of like play around with different interpretations and see if they feel real to you. You can do that. There you go. I see a join. There's a join, Jen. Okay, so Jen, I'm sure you know how this works. If you're new to this, then you simply give me a topic, a subject matter, or a question, and I will begin bouncing these cards around and trying to mix them up, and then we will pull them out and see what the tarot has for us. And let me switch over to my big screen of the tarot table. Marriage and family. All right, let's have a look at marriage and family. Something, basically a suggestion for, something to think about for the time being in the near future. Something, maybe a new little way of looking at some aspect of marriage and family, And we can all use that because we all get into all these habits, don't we? We get into patterns and we don't even know. So let's have a look at the cards here. That clearly wants to be if it sticks to your thumb, then it's speaking. All right, Jen. This is the top. This here is the and I'm gonna. This is a little flipped. Let me quickly do my little flip around here. Is that how we do it? Hold on a sec. I'm trying to get it to do. Hang on a sec. There we go. Do I have that right? Hang on. I'm trying to flip the... No, this is the wrong one I'm doing. Hold on. Doesn't seem to like what I'm doing. Okay, hold on a sec. For some reason, it's not picking up the... Hang on, I'm trying to get our tarot camera back. Here we go, okay. No. Hang on, Jen. Hi, Sarum. How are you? I'm trying to deal with my tarot camera, which is acting strangely at the moment. Very, very strange. Hold on. I'm going to unplug my my tarot camera and try and bring it back online. Hang on a second. Oh, I think I might have done it. Yes. Okay. So we're back. We at least have it showing. Now let me zoom it in. I think I did it. Okay, Jen. Here we go. All right. Let's look at this. Marriage and family. I think we're now back. Our technology is back. Marriage and family. So what happens here in this reading is I put these three cards down, and one is elevated and central. And it is the primary message that we want to sort of see. It gives us the overarching meaning that we're looking for here. And so, okay, justice. So what the tarot is giving us is a sense, it's discussing with us the idea of fairness, support, giving everyone what they need, giving everyone a fair hearing. If there's any conflict in a family, you need someone in the family, and usually it's a parental figure, who is able to calm and hear people out and get to the bottom of whatever is upsetting people, or manage things in a gentle, supportive way, without causing undue strife, right? That's what the Justice card represents. But it also has to do with, the sword is there. There is a certain firm quality to justice, obviously. And if you have to take action to discipline, which happens in marriage and family, if you have kids, you have to exercise a certain amount of, discretion when you're raising children. Now, I don't know, you didn't say anything about children, but marriage and family can include that aspect. But the general idea is there's a calm reasoned fairness implied within the context of this marriage and family. And the tarot wants this to be paramount in your consideration at the moment. It wants you really focusing on, is there something out of balance? Is somebody making too many demands, or is somebody forgetting to do something, to take care of their responsibilities? It can be very simple things. It can be simple things like chores and cleaning dishes. These things stack up, so to speak, no pun intended. The dishes do stack up, and people get annoyed, and things happen in marriages and families that create little tensions, right? Well, the Justice card is there to say, you have, in the context of this family and marriage, an enormous capability to achieve this kind of balance. You have an innately fair approach to these things, and you know exactly how to foster growth and a healthy environment inside a home. That's what this card is signaling primarily here. So let's look at what the supporting cards say. And on the left, we have something kind of unconscious, that you're not always thinking about this. Well, what pops out but the heart, the way you react to things emotionally, essentially, is what this is. And it's the 8. Now, 8s are big numbers of balance. The 8, you see what's happening? You see the reinforcement that's going on. If you're new to this, you may not, you're looking at the primary card, which is the 8 in the major arcana. And then you've got a supportive unconscious card here, which is also an 8 in the minor arcana, representing your heart, your love, your love for your family, your love for your marriage. And the 8 is the number of sort of infinite potential and the achieving of balance, great success and balance, and the enjoyment of it. And so there's this unconscious desire to constantly fill yourself with the feeling of your love for this family, for your family. And it's abundant when it's in the 8. But also the 8 implies applying yourself in order to maintain this balance. The juggling of many things, the keeping in play of different forces that may be in conflict with each other, but you have this ability to juggle all of these different aspects of the family and keep everything running. Okay, and the 8 here is dovetailing with the 8 here. And, she's balance. The 8 is balance. So there's an enormous focus in this reading on fairness, on balance, on equity, on making sure everybody has what they need. Everybody is in a healthy, good, nurturing situation. And then on the right, we move in to more of a conscious kind of an advice, something to sort of think about shortly in the next few days. And you get the passion symbol of wands, the fire, the intuitive sort of, what drives you forward, what makes you, what inspires you to achieve things as part of your family or your marriage? What inspires you to go new places, to take the family places on vacations or trips? What inspires you to go and read books about how to raise kids, how to make your marriage better? All of that kind of energy in you, that's the passion for your family, is represented by the wands. And the 2 is the number of coming, the couple, the pairing, the accumulation of energy, planning. It can mean, ideas coming together, interests coming together, and preparing to take a step forward to do something that maybe is you've been planning for a while or you've been thinking about. But that 2 always has that idea of something coming together. And in this case, we're not talking conflict. The cards are too balanced. Over here, there's There's too much sort of level-headedness going on for this to represent conflict. This is implying a gathering of energy and preparation to do something coming up soon. Something of the great interest to you is about to emerge or about to be possible. You're going to be able to actually do something you may have been thinking about or planning for a while. This is what's going to happen soon. And so the card wants you to maintain, your sense of calm, discretion, leadership. You can inspire the family and keep everything sort of running smoothly. That's what this card is about. Meanwhile, it just consistently fills your heart with more and more affection for everyone around you. And then here, there's something coming up that you can really enjoy, that will really inspire you and the family. And what that is, I don't know, but I'm sure you will. So yeah, the real card here, the big signifier, I call it the card to keep in your back pocket and think about the next day, is the Justice card. And where in your own persona do you find this kind of a trait, and how you apply it in your marriage and family? And the card simply is something that you can refer to in your mind in the next couple of days. Go, yeah, the Justice card. Now, if something were to occur, like let's say, you're planning for something, a trip, and you get into an argument you get into a disagreement, let's say, about how many suitcases to take. Well, this comes into your mind for a brief moment, and it has the effect often of calming. And you're like, there's no reason to get annoyed here. The Justice card wouldn't get all annoyed and start making, snide jokes about, overpacking and why do we have to take all your shoes? And, the Justice card wouldn't do that. The Justice card would find a way to say, okay, well, let's work out, how we can save a little space in the car, and make room for your extra suitcase. Or maybe would you compromise and you can take an extra suitcase, but just take one of the smaller ones. That's the Justice card sort of idea. You're very welcome, Jen. And I see Darth. I see you are in the queue, and I've got you. You are next. And so you just give me your topic, and I'm going to start shuffling. At least I got the camera working again. Sometimes, I'm telling you, these streaming things, they just do the weirdest things for no reason. I'm like, what? What's this thing doing now? All right. Just wanted to know kind of a general. Okay. Spirit guides wanted to tell you yes. Yes. Okay. Tarot's very good at that. Yeah. I guess the reason I came on tonight is as the week approaches the end of the work week, as it gets toward a weekend, and that's not many people's work weeks start on the weekend, who knows, but I kind of like to do readings sort of preparing to see like how things are going to sort of feel going into the weekend, All right. What are the spirit guides saying? Let's look at our main signal. 5 of Cups, your heart. Okay, so 5 of Cups, there's the suggestion of a little bit of unsettled, a little kind of wondering, how should I feel about this? Something going on where you're just not quite sure how you're supposed to react, or your reaction is, you're not quite sure what your reaction is or why you're having it. It's just a little bit of confusion about one's feelings about something. And this is common. I mean, you can have this kind of confusion after coming home from dinner with friends, and you can't quite figure out why something somebody said in passing makes you feel a certain way when you're driving home. You're like, what in the world? That's what the 5 is. There's this new odd element that's popped in, and it's made us feel something, and it's got us a little bit off our center. And we don't quite know where we're going to end up with it. We don't know, should I be annoyed? Was it a joke? Should I be concerned? Should I be blowing it off? Should I just be really nice and funny about it? Or it's that kind of weird feeling, and we don't understand quite what our heart is telling us. Okay, the message is unclear, but we know something's developed. Something's happening that's unusual. It's not a big crisis. It's a number card after all. It can change, in a 24-hour basis. but still, it's thrown us off our game slightly. And then under here we have strength. Okay, reversed. Strength is strength. Strength is able to master forces within and without with a kind of equanimity, a gentleness of strength. She's able to pacify, but not just pacify, a creature like a dog here. She's able to tame forces that are a bit unknowable. But she's able to sort of know them and tame them and work with them, but they can be internal forces as well. And so what we're talking here with this 5 is this a little bit of some kind of emotional something has happened or is happening, and it's maybe going to get you a little, you're a little unprepared for it, and you may feel a little weak in the face of it. And that's why this card is showing you that weakness. If you're not sure how to handle or even respond to something, then you're having trouble taming your reaction or understanding your reaction. And this may happen quite a bit. This is a major arcana card. So there's something very significant about this feeling of being a little at the mercy of what the emotions are doing. And you might not be aware of the fact that this is a key element that's maybe run through several circumstances. It's a pretty key thing under the surface, unconscious. And the card is here to say, okay, well, maybe if you became a little bit more aware of that, you might find some interesting things out. Now, something more obvious to think about here. Okay, well, Tower, another major card. We've got 2 major cards here. One implies a feeling of kind of not quite knowing how to handle an emotional reaction, some weakness. And then over here is a kind of upheaval. It means look for and keep in mind that things happen. Things do get unbalanced, and there can be large effects from them, very large effects. So there's something going on in these cards suggesting maybe the feeling of weakness here is in reaction to what you've seen and are aware, have experienced through circumstances of upheaval and turmoil. It can be anything. This can represent anything that is disruptive to life. And the primary message of the reading is that there's something you don't know how to handle emotionally. However, you have to remember about the 5 is that this element that comes in that's disconcerting often leads to growth. The 5th element comes in, and the next card is the 6, which is harmony and enjoyment and beauty and sharing and communication. This 5 is sort of the disruption that goes along with the Tower, but in your heart, emotionally, that prepares you for a step forward. You have to remember that about the 5. It's not all just senseless turmoil. So there's something foundational in you, perhaps, that the tarot is sort of wanting you just to examine. It's not saying, oh my gosh, critical flaw, what can you do? No, it's asking you to examine how circumstances of life that cause upheaval, that cause, strong reactions, that can be very, very disconcerting and cause fear, and how they may have played a role in making you sometimes doubt yourself over here and your ability, your strength to handle even just your own self, your own feelings, to maintain a sense of peace, But this card here with the heart, it's not reversed. There's no negativity here. And we can't assume that the 5's disruption. See, the word disruption has a negative connotation. It's something unexpected and new that you can't quite yet process. But because the card is right side up, it implies that it's an opportunity for growing and taking a step forward that maybe you've never done before. So I would actually say that the main card to keep in mind, even though it's a minor, is this one, the heart. And remember that, following the heart and being able to sort of understand your reactions and feelings is hugely beneficial. And then putting your mind on that will work inside these larger forces to get a feeling of able to sort of stay balanced and easy even when things get rough over here. And this sense of weakness will gradually turn and you'll see where your strengths are. It's an interesting reading. And the reason I say that is because you've got the 2 very powerful forces taking subservient roles, basically, to the minor card, which is the top. And I'm detecting that this, in fact, is the key here. And that these are longer term things that maybe you've had doubts about and had to deal with. And so, yeah, I mean, 5 is a tough number because it's unsettling. And nobody wants to necessarily be unsettled. If you're in a situation where you're secure, and then all of a sudden something comes in and changes it. Well, that can lead you to react and feel like the tower is happening. The tower is being busted apart and everything's falling to the earth. It can, and that's maybe because of the, you have, if you feel a little unsure, then small things can trigger a big reaction. And so this reading is all about that. Big reactions to things, trying to handle those reactions, trying to understand where they come from. And the reading just simply wants you to look at that aspect of life, which is common to all of us. Yeah, change happens. And, the five is sort of the card, that says, hey, change. Yeah, we know it can freak you out when it starts. Like when you get to the 7, the change is becoming more understood. You're getting a view of what the change is and what it means, and you're able to handle it, and you're able to start applying it to life. You're able, that's the 7. The 7 has you've reached a higher stage of development. But when you're at the 5, you're still kind of like, whoa, you're like ready to fall off the boat, basically. So, but, a tower card is very odd. I've always thought the tower card was the weirdest thing, mainly because of the 2 people. The 2 people coming, those 2 people who are, they look like they're looking for something. They look like they're looking for like somebody dropped their keys or something. In fact, I've heard the tarot card, I've heard it described that way, that they're not actually falling, that they're doing something else. I know, they look like gumballs. Yeah. It's like a broken gumball machine. And those are 2 kids like trying to scoop up all of them before the store manager comes. But I actually like the tower card. I've heard that it's typically voted the most favorite card when people are asked what their favorite tarot card is. Do they still have gumball machines? I don't even know. I haven't even seen one. I mean, would you even want to get some dirty gumball out of some machine somewhere? It's like nowadays we think about this. Like, why would I want to put some? It could have like been, those gumballs could have all been rolling on the floor yesterday. Why would I want to buy one of them? So I hope that gives you something useful. It's sometimes with tarot readings, you have to sort of figure out how you're going to apply them the next day. Breakdown of a belief system or a foundation to build anew. Yeah, that's a great sentence there. Remothering yourself. Absolutely true. Yeah. I was looking around today on YouTube at different channels, like oriented towards some of them tarot. So just that general sort of, self-improvement sort of thing. Some people are really like, they're doing stuff that's very, they have nice layouts, and they make good images. It's not easy to do. It takes a lot of concentration. So I like looking around to see what people are doing. And I found there was an author. I've read a couple of his books, and he has like a channel, and he was on there talking, and yeah. And so I was looking at this guy, and I was like, wow, I've read a couple of his books. They're actually really good. And so I guess he has a channel, which I'm sure other people, they do the production for him, because I'm sure he's mostly busy writing his books. But it's just interesting to see all the ways people do it. And then the other thing is, there's always like a bunch of the YouTube videos about how to make your own YouTube thing. And so everybody has like instructions for you, like how to put it all together and stuff. Like how often you should upload, and it gets really detailed. It's like, man. But what's also interesting is, and I didn't know this before, there's services now where you can go to do things like, when you make videos for YouTube, then you want a nice thumbnail to advertise it on YouTube so people see a nice picture. Well, you can do, there are websites where you can put that together. There's also a website this guy was recommending where you go, and it is all the people that do this work, and they'll have a price. And so you basically tell them what you want, and you pay them, and many of them will like turn it around overnight for you. Like if you need a thumbnail, or they even have editors, like you can get entire videos, you can shoot all your stuff, and then you can hire on these sites editors who you'll get your footage, I guess, available to them online so they can download it. And then they will turn around a finished YouTube video for you. It's really an interesting world. So you don't have to do any of that stuff yourself if you don't want to. Yeah. I think Fiverr was the one, actually. And the other one there's something called Canva. And on there you can make banners and images and stuff for your films. I've never used these things. I have no idea. I have to try. I got to try Canva, I guess. Oh, okay. Shirts too. Wow. Okay. So they just do everything. Anything you can probably put an image on, they'll do, I bet. There's a service. There's like quite a few printing companies where you can get an entire tarot deck printed. And you can fully design every aspect of that, even the booklet, the box, the whole thing. And and of course it's expensive if you only order one or two of these things, but if you order them in bulk, then the price comes down quite a lot. So if you made something like a tarot deck and you wanted to sell it, and you thought, well, you better be sure you can sell it, because if you order, 500 of them to make, then you better be able to sell them, or you've got 500 tarot decks sitting in your closet. So, so yeah, anyone that wants a reading, just type the join command. The cards should be ready. I'll shuffle them a bit more. Yeah, they cut the price a lot. That's right. Yeah, I mean, sometimes some of these places they'll charge you like $30 or $40 to print one deck of tarot cards. I mean, it would probably be cheaper to buy a tarot deck, almost any tarot deck in a store somewhere. I'm going to pull a card to think about for the weekend. Okay, well, yeah, this, whenever this card comes out like this, I'm always like, oh God, really? The Eight of Swords reversed. Oh boy. So what that is it's like, it's kind of like being stuck a little bit, kind of bound up and stuck in one's own ideas and maybe isolated a bit in thinking. And you need change. You need to be able to find a way to literally change your mind, because what's happening with that reversal is you've lost sight of the broad view, the big ideas. You're getting caught in the minutia, the details, and you're hemmed in by your own ideas, and you can't break out of them yet. And you really need change. You want to go and breathe different air somewhere. And it's like when somebody you're at work and I just need to go on a 3-week vacation. I just need a whole change of scene. That's kind of what that reversed Eight of Swords is doing. Now, do I even feel that way? I don't think I do. I don't think I'm all bound up. It's just, I think it's something to keep your eye on. It's just one of those cards I get. Every time I get it, I'm like, wow. In fact, let me look at something. I'm going to get the Rider-Waite Smith Eight of Swords. Of course, I have to fumble through the deck because it's all out of order, but I have that deck in my hand, this one. And there's the 7. Where's the 8? There it is. Yeah. So that's why the reason I wanted to look at this, because I was using the expression, you feel bound up. You feel bound up in your own ideas and stuck, and you really need some kind of a change. Well, you see, there you go. This must be why that kind of terminology comes to mind. So what's interesting is what the Rider-Waite deck does. Notice how this card is right side up. And the description I gave for this card, which is reversed, had to do with being bound up. But it's a reversal. And that's because with the Tarot de Marseille deck, the ancient French deck, actually it comes from an Italian deck, but it was printed in France. If it's right side up, I would actually say something different about the Eight of Swords. What I would say is you are finding the ability to really apply your understanding and your knowledge to real achievement, and that you're finally able to get somewhere and really gain something from what it is you know. You're able to solve crises, you're able to conflicts, you're able to win them and get and make enormous rapid progress with the eight. And eight always has that sense of balance, you know? The two halves of the eight symbol, the infinity sign. In other words, enormous potential in the eight. That's how I would read the eight. Like, hey, you're really doing well at something. Something's really about to take off for you. You know, something's really, if change is coming, then you're really, it has to do with accomplishment. But the Rider-Waite-Smith would look at the eight right side up and say, well, you know, there's, it's hard to see beyond your own ideas. You're kind of stuck, and it's a little, you know, she's a prisoner. She's a prisoner of her own mind. So it has a negative aspect in their right side up version. That's what's so interesting about these different decks. To get this negative view, I would need to see this one reversed in order to come up with that. Me, I am Sag. I am a Sagittarius. I can't take the bow and I pull it back and go whoosh. So it's interesting how the Rider-Waite-Smith takes these. And now, so if you reverse the Rider-Waite-Smith one, you would probably get something more akin to the right side up Tarot de Marseille Eight of Swords. You would get over here, if you're turning the bound up, blinded, and reversing it, you would have to say, well, the binds are being released. They're being loosened, and that you are beginning to see outwardly. You are seeing the truth of the situation rather than just what your mind wants you to see. So, yeah, I'm, as I say, I am the only astrological sign that carries a weapon. I'm embarrassed to say. I mean, why does Sagittarius need to run around with a bow and arrow? That's my question. Isn't Sagittarius sort of like Hercules or something? Or what was the what's the other character in Greek mythology with the half bull, half human? I can't remember. I can't remember my Greek mythology. But yeah, so that's the trick, you know, the two different decks, and they're really kind of the primary thing. The very, very old Tarot de Marseille, and then you have the American Smith, you know, Rider-Waite-Smith. This is from 1909, that one, at least the origin of it. And this one's from 1420s, like 1425, something like that. Minotaur. Yeah. That's what it is. That's the word, Minotaur. Yeah, there was a old cartoon on TV I used to. It was Hercules. There was a cartoon Hercules they made long. It's really old, and they had the Minotaur in that. Now here's the Rider-Waite-Smith Tower, and the people look more like they're falling. They look like they're like, ah. This is a recolored version of the Rider-Waite-Smith. This is not the original. I got this because I just like the way they filled it in with, I don't know, crayon or something. I mean, there's more versions of tarot than there are leaves on a tree. They're just, you can get every kind of tarot deck you could ever imagine. You know, it would be interesting if it would be fun to review tarot decks. The only problem with reviewing tarot decks is, what if you didn't like one and we're going to do like a review on YouTube or something and you didn't like it? Because I don't like to not like something that somebody made for tarot. You know, I'd feel terrible about saying something negative about a tarot deck that an artist made. You know? I know. You're right. I mean, what's the difference between that and, you know, reviewing movies? For some reason with tarot, though, since it's such a, you know, tarot is really, it gets a very personal sort of belief, you know, and I don't like to make someone feel like their expression of their belief is not good enough or something. You know what I mean? So maybe, you know how you'd solve that? You'd basically just do positive reviews of tarot decks. You'd be like, okay, no, I'm only going to discuss tarot decks that I really like and want to use, and I'll just do videos where I talk about why it's so good and why this deck is really worth trying. That's probably what I would end up doing. Just keep it always on a positive. And so that way, everybody, I mean, what's the point really of, you know, because people read a negative tarot deck review. It's like, so they're just not going to go buy that deck. I mean, but if you do positive ones, then people are going to be like, oh, that sounds like exactly the deck I was hoping for. And they'll get excited and they'll go buy it. And you bring more people, you bring them in to their interest in tarot. I think that's makes sense. Positive. I'll do negative reviews about TV shows. Those people make too much money for me to worry about how they feel. You know? So yeah, everyone has their own opinion. Absolutely. And, right. Is it their problem for not being able to hear what's wrong with their deck? Well, yeah. I mean, you have to be authentic with what you like and dislike. Yeah. It's true. You do. Yeah. You don't want to do things just to be nice all the time, you know. That's a totally valid point. Yeah. Let me do, let's put this card back in. Rider-Waite-Smith. Nine of Pentacles, reverse. So physical. Something very practical is just being ignored and is not getting there. It's just not being done. The Moon. Wow. So the dreamscape is, well, the dreamscape has receded. We're not in touch. We're just not seeing those fantastic images. We're not able to write the next chapter in the book. We're feeling a little stuck in the mundane every day. We can't access the imaginative, the crazy, the like weird, the depths of our creative imagination. We're not listening to the intuitive. We're not remembering our dreams and using what they give us, ignoring some big part of ourselves, and all it does is make us feel dry and worn out. But then we end up with all of this possibility, all of this enthusiasm bursting out at the seams. We're ready to take a trip. Let's get change. Let's do it. Like I said just a few minutes ago, a change of scenery. Let me get out of here. Let me just change the air I breathe and go to another land like the fool would. Maybe that's what I need. So all kinds of trouble at work, probably, with this Nine of Pentacles. Trouble at work. It's just grinding. It's just nothing got finished this week. It just makes me feel kind of down, and I'm tired. And I'm just not able to finish anything, and I just want to leave it hanging. And I'm feeling like not really in touch with myself. I'm feeling like work has just sort of left me like a hollowed out log. That's this moon thing. And nothing's fun anymore. Nothing's like seems magical to me. And so, you know what? I'm just going to pack a suitcase and just flit off and go. I'm going to I'm going for a week. I'm just going to go for a week, whether it's a beach or a mountain trail. I don't care. I'm just going. And I'm going to set out with not enough stuff. And I'm just going to hope for the best and have a great time and see if things sort of, see if I start having my great dreams again. Maybe I can sit down and write the little song I was planning to write 2 years ago. So there you go. That's what that brings up. Anxiety, burnt out fears that are blocking, not able to move on, but the universe is giving you that opportunity for brand new beginnings. Burnt out, totally. I mean, if this moon card comes in reverse, the burnt out, man, it's nothing has that spark of the magic, You can't even really sit down and enjoy a good movie and let your imagination go, when this is like this. And this really does. The first thing I thought of was work being just kind of a big old pain. So vacation, what better time than right here in mid-July to get the Fool card? Yeah, never a bad thing. New perspective. And so much of tarot has to do with finding new perspectives, new viewpoint. You can take the Hangman card. Tons of suggestion in there about new viewpoints. Giving yourself time to come to see things differently. And it can take time. It can be a slow marinating process, Interesting. I love the tarot for all of those hidden qualities it has. I actually have pain in my left arm, but not my left arm. It's very common because I box. And so what happens when you box is if you're a standard stance boxer, you're constantly this muscle here, right here in the front of the shoulder joint, takes an enormous amount of constant stress because it's your jabbing hand and you're constantly moving it out and back and out and back and out and back. It's your bread and butter, basically. And so right here is just always like, you're always going like this, working it out slowly. And sometimes it magically goes away for like a month, and then it comes back. And you're like, oh. And the first time that ever happened to me, I was in a gym and I walked up to one of the other boxers and I said, man, my shoulder, it hurts. And they were like, yeah, so what's new? I was like, oh, okay. Oh, no, my forearm? No, not there. I don't have that. Do what? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any there. It's just this cord. There's a cord right here. There's like a tendon. That's what it is. It's a tendon right here. Then I was saying muscle, but there's a muscle there, but there's like a lot of complicated little tendons in your shoulder socket here. And it's one of those. It's very common if you do boxing. The solution is don't do it anymore. Stop exercising. Then you won't have no more pain. Okay, Darth, I think I'm going to end the stream. What time is it? It's yeah, I have to get going. I'm glad I came in late tonight, but I have been able to do an hour and a half, which I'm really surprised I did it. Very nice coming in and talking, and so anyone who's here, Darth, anyone else who's still around in our little tarot room here, feel free to come on back whenever. I love doing this, and I love learning the whole process of all this, and the streaming thing. So yeah, come on back. I think at some point tomorrow evening I will do this again. Also, I have one obligation earlier in the evening, and then I can come in and hit the screen again. So yeah, I'm going to run now, but meanwhile, have an excellent Friday, and I will see everybody very soon. Have a good one, everybody, okay? Actually, I'll try to raid another channel. If anyone's still here, I'll try to raid. I'll raid a channel right now. Oh, hi. I was just ending the stream, and I raided. I just did my raid. Hang on. So I just did the raid because I'm just ready to pack it in for the night, but I answer general readings, anything really. I my view of tarot is not to be too like predictive with it, but it's more of a, it suggests sort of avenues for thought and new ways of looking at things. So, but anyway, I just wanted to raid. So just have a good night, everybody, and keep taroting. Good night. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. I am Shalene. I'm going to come back in tomorrow evening and do this again. And I do Mondays and Wednesday nights. And then I tend to throw in a bunch of others also. So I end up doing like, instead of 2 nights, I usually do like 4 or 5 in the week. Okay, everybody have a really good tarot night. I'll see people later.